Hello again, every peoples. Um, I was just reading this article. I'm going to put the photograph um, as the thumbnail. But so I was reading this and I just had some thoughts that I wanted to share. Um, so the article says, for those not in the know, night witches were Russian women bombers who bombed the shit out of German lines in World War II. Thing is, though, they had the oldest, noisiest, crappiest planes in the entire world. These planes were so noisy that to avoid alerting the Germans hearing them on their approach and risk facing their anti-aircraft guns, these night witches would climb up to a certain height, coast down to German positions, drop their bombs, then climb out onto the wings of the plane to restart their engines in midair. Okay? Then climb back in and get the hell out of Dodge. Their leader flew over 200 missions and was never captured. Women pilots killing Nazis. How is this not taught in every single history class ever? Okay, so I read this and I was like, holy cow. Like, such amazing heroism that they did. Like, I cannot imagine like flying up, turning the engine of my plane off, dropping bombs, climbing out onto the wing of my plane, and then driving away. Like, that to me is just insane. Maybe because I'm terrified of heights. I don't know. Um, yeah, like, and I'm reading this and I'm thinking, what in the world possibly ever possessed women to think that we were not equally as valuable as men? That we had to start a crusade against men? That we had to form an attack against men and say that we weren't equal? It was never that we were not equal. Um, Things were set up that way, and I'll try to leave my firm beliefs on the Bible out of it. Okay. Things were set up that way for men because they do have masculinity, they have testosterone, they get angry, they get jealous as a protection. They are supposed to get jealous of their wives. They're supposed to get angry when something is happening with their family so they can protect them. Do some people use that out of context? Absolutely. But guess what? Women are freaking awful to men. Okay? They are. You guys suck. You need to stop. You need to stop. Okay? Toxic masculinity is a lie. It is a flat out lie that was sold to you to divide homes so that political parties could carry out Nazi style communism. Okay. That's exactly what happened. If homes are divided, then they can come in, they can have more power, they can have more control. People have to have food stamps and welfare and housing and all of these things. And then they say, oh, well, if you want this, then we need A, B, C, and D. If you need this, then A, B, C, and D. And then they gain control. And then you learn to depend on them instead of your husband's, or instead of your children's father, or instead of your family unit. Masculinity is not toxic, it is to provide and protect. Okay? So, reading this article, I'm like, wow, women were way more badass, pardon my mouth, but we were way more badass when instead of fighting for equality, deciding that we were so picked on, we joined the team, understanding that the goal was whatever we were doing, not to prove that we could do what a man could do. Men don't need a woman to do what a man can do because they can do it. Okay? They need a woman to do the things they can't do. Our influence was in our ability to multitask and multifunction and to strategize, not to go out and be equal with a man, which equal in value and equal in ability are two very different things. A man is going to have a much harder time with multitasking and strategizing, just like a woman um, who hasn't spent her whole life trying to be a man is going to have a much harder time moving the pipes and carrying out whatever that strategy is. Our power was in our influence, and we digressed and put ourselves down lower simply by deciding that we were picked on and that we did not have it as good as men and that they viewed us as less than. Because the truth is that men didn't view us as less than. They actually viewed us on this pedestal way up higher to be cared for and taken care of and to be protected at all costs. And we jumped off of that pedestal and said, no, I can do whatever you can do. And we left the men standing there thinking, well, okay, I didn't never thought that you couldn't, but now who's going to do what I can't do? If you're doing my job and I can't do your job, then who's going to do that? And who is doing that? Who is teaching your kids? The schools that are teaching them that they can change their gender and that there's 38 genders, which completely defies all biology. Oh, yep. Who is strategizing for your husbands? Their secretaries, and then you wonder why there is rampant adultery. Maybe you should have been who you were made to be instead of being who your husband was made to be or who your partner was made to be. That's just my thoughts. We were way badass. We were strategizing with these men and we were flying over Nazi Germany, climbing out on our airplanes to start our engines. Like that to me, that's way more badass than doing anything, moving pipes, fixing cars, whatever. We were doing what they needed us to do instead of trying to do what they could already do for themselves. We've completely emasculated them. I say we, but I've never been feminist. So, women, feminists, have completely emasculated men, tore them down, beat them up, bruised them. It is absolutely sickening. The level that men have been pushed to in society, that I feel like I have to explain who my husband is and his very wonderful role in our family and society if someone observes us functioning together in public. That's sad. It's really sad. And I'm sorry to all the men out there who have been treated that way. It was a political agenda. And unfortunately, I said I was going to leave Bible out of it, but just like the garden where Eve fell for taking the fruit, women fell for this political agenda, and you've been treated like shit because of it. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is it okay that men go and rape? No. And I've never met a man with any sort of character or morality that ever said that it was okay. That I've never. Anyway, women, we really need to step up. Use our minds, our ability to multitask, our ability to observe, our ability to use our critical thinking skills to look at this and to see how is tearing families apart. It's tore so much down, and we are at a political place where we are walking right back into Nazi Germany, willingly begging for communism. And I think it's time to, instead of trying to do everything a man can do, we use our abilities and our differences to think critically, to observe, to research, to multitask, and to take back our homes and our families and defend our country and our society and our men, our boys, our children, our daughters, just simply by being what we are supposed to be, using who we were made to be and our actual strengths to get further, instead of competing with our partners, competing with the people who were supposed to do the things we couldn't do. So, anyway, I love y'all, and I will talk to you later. Bye.